terms of recent developments in the Philippines, I'm really excited that there's been a pronounced shift to a more sustainable development paradigm, whether it's companies or government or civil society or even the youth. A lot more focus on climate sustainability, a lot more focus on inclusiveness. How do we do business to be more inclusive? There's been a lot of effort on using technology to enable sort of more far-flung areas to access really important services. So there's been a really pronounced shift, and I see the Philippines as really leading the charge globally in this sector. I think there's a new area of growth that's not so new, and that's tourism. The Philippines has so much to offer, but our first international tourists, we had Magellan coming back in the 1600s. So tourism has always been there, but somehow the Philippine tourism scene has not kept up with other areas, and we are definitely punching beneath our weight. But if you just think about when people come here, they just love it. And so how do we grow that? There are so many specific types of opportunities. For example, if you think of African safaris, how about doing sea safaris in the Philippines? Think of a safari, but instead of going to see big game, you're going to these remote islands and seeing what, the flora and fauna both above and below the water. Food, tourism as food. You don't really hear about Filipino restaurants overseas. And yet when people come here, they love Filipino food. So there's been such a movement in Philippine cuisine. That's also something related to tourism, but also a big opportunity. There's so much talent that we have, especially like in terms of art and design. If you look at going back thousands of years, if you look at our fabrics, for example, just exquisite and amazing and unique. But our textile industry is dying out. So this is a huge opportunity because we've got such a heritage and we have so much talent. The key is to get it organized so we can really tap into those strengths. The Philippines overall is doing pretty well, but because of our geography and just because of the way that things work, there are many areas that are getting left behind. And of course, part of it is just geography. We've got 7,600 islands, we've got mountains, and so there are many areas of population that are separated. And so the key is to build some institutions that enable these isolated areas to somehow be connected to the economy and connected to society. And one of the things that I learned through McKinsey at MGI was that value chains are really powerful institutions that can last a long time. And I think that there's a lot of work that can be done to build the value chains that will enable goods and services to reach these villages, but equally help these villages reach the markets. So I think that government and business can really work more proactively to put in place the value chains that enable goods and services to reach the more far-flung areas, and equally to enable those villages to access markets and access livelihood.